What started as an ordinary day would change my Overwatch career forever. Friday the 15th is the date, and I received a DM via Discord from coaching connoisseur and content creating and planning mastermind SVB to the second ever Overwatch 2 Fantasy Overwatch Tournament, featuring the legendary Flats, mL7, Eeveea, Somnus, and Yeatle as overarching captains. 1 million BlizzBucks and one team to take it all. With a draft the next day, I was eager to get some rest, and that is when it all went downhill. I woke up with COVID, and yeah, that pretty much let me out of commission until the day of the tournament, which left me pretty unprepared, but the show must go on. To explain how this works, each captain had a budget of 1 million made up BlizzBucks. With this, the captains were to pick a group of at least 4 other players in order to field a tournament on Thursday, the day immediately after. That would mean that the average starting player would be valued at around $250,000. Well, there's a bit of a catch. At the end of the auction, other captains had opportunities to yoink other players from other teams by paying double the auction value. You could defend the yoink if and only if you had the money to match that doubled auction. So this led to a lot of captains trying to obtain players for cheap, so they made sure that they were able to fill out a full roster. All things considered, J3 still went for 500,000 BlizzBucks. Yeah. Things got a little bit weird. At the start of the auction, players went for relatively cheap, about 100,000 BlizzBucks a player. mL7 came out of the gate with 220,000 BlizzBucks for Fitzy, and that is when I immediately knew he had some tricks up his sleeve. My turn in the auction came, and there were only 3 captains that could realistically afford me: Flats, mL7, and Eeveea. Eeveea was pretty much out of the picture though, because she had already had a pretty decent backline and didn't really need another support. So that left Flats and mL7. Now, when you see this screen, you essentially have the king of support on one side with a minimal budget, and the up-and-coming content star of Flats with 767,000 BlizzBucks ready to spend. In this moment, I'm freaking out because this is such an insane opportunity, mind you, but I had intuition I would go for a solid pickup of 100k. Boy, was I wrong. The bids start off strong with 10k from Flats, and then a ping-pong matchup follows between Flats and mL7. 80, 85, 90, 100, 110, 115, 125, and then a moment of silence, broken with a 130, a 140, a 145, a 155, a 160, a 169, nice, and then a 250 out of nowhere from the gate of mL7. 25% of his total budget sold to mL7 as the most expensive support player, tied with Veil, the Mercy God, myself, Paz. At this moment, for lack of a better term, I'm geeking, but I'm also scared out of my mind. I mean, nonetheless, the tournament was still upon us. The day started with a relaxing Kovacs warm-up, and then some games with Fitzy and mL7, which I must say were a lot of fun. Fitzy is a very talented Sombra, and I knew I could push my limits with mL7 as Zen. By the end of the session, I felt confident in the team for the first game of the day against Team Somnus. Our starting roster for the first game was Bowie, Fitzy, Warren, mL7, and Foggy, my support counterpart that was going to play on specific maps throughout the day. The enemy roster consisted of Emiliath, Javion, Somnus, Barcode, and Emon. A strong team to start off the day, and an even stronger map, King's Row. We start off with an attempt at running Brawl, but quickly realize what this tournament is all about. While Brawl might be considered meta in Overwatch 2 at this current moment in time, it is much more about coordination than it is about mechanics. Knowing this, we switch to a much more comfortable dive matchup and lead with a strong attack, leaving 32 seconds to spare. Our defense held even stronger, letting up the first point with 40 seconds left, but we could not maintain the snowball of aggression that they had moving into the second and third points. Overtime is inbound and we quickly lose the point, but miraculously make a swift second point hold in overtime. With 1 minute and 2 seconds on the clock, we needed to be efficient or else we would start the day off with a loss. The fight begins and it already starts to look good for us. JV unlocks the Torb, meaning that Fitzy has to play less aggressive, but this wasn't a problem as we broke the turret extremely early, allowing for Bowie to take a hold on the high ground, letting the team capture progress on the point. As time progressed, the point capture was completed and the fight was won, closing out game 1 for the team. It was at this moment that I knew that the day would not be easy, but it was certainly winnable. Game 2 faced us with a great challenge against Team Yeatle, showcasing talent from Yeatle himself, Forgiving, Vale, J3, Metro, and Questron. So overall, a very solid team. Yeatle's team picked Gibraltar, which was definitely going to be a challenge. I was in on this map, which was definitely nerve-wracking, but I thought I did pretty well. I did find some quick picks here and there with the support of mL7, but there was a serious problem that needed adjustment that we caught on to just a little bit too late, which was the switch from Bowie on the Eeveea to the Winston. Held on the first point, we knew it needed to be reciprocated if victory was to be ours, which actually looks like it was within reach. I decided to trade the damage on Zenyatta to support Warren with a Mercy, allowing for more survivability in the backline as well. Immediately, it was clear improvements were made. Warren eliminates Mercy, finds a huge dynamite that Bowie quickly follows up on, and then the push looks promising. The team was communicating like it never had before. Ultimates were being planned and denied, and most importantly, the high ground was being maintained, which is the most important thing to get right about Watchpoint. But maybe it was being maintained too well.
Warren, Yeatle takes out his opposite number as well, and now J3 gets slapped. ML wants the number, wants the damage. Vale has no option but to Glock. The attack rise up for the back. No! Victory. The Charlie Niner.
Yes, we pulled the classic Charlie Niner, the letter number, which felt pretty crushing, I must say. This left us with 1 win and 1 loss on the day, which pretty much meant that we were competing for second place, and we had no hope of making the finals. The only way we even had a chance at redemption is if they lost to a team we built, which didn't look entirely promising as they just beat the most powerful prospect to do that the game after. Regardless, I was pretty hopeful and just wanted to play the game, so I gave it my all for the rest of the day. So as the day moved on, Game 3 again showcased a Fogey, and we insisted on running Brawl on Nepal, which definitely caused me a lot of stress. On Nepal's first map, we ironed out a few problems and pulled away with the point, but it wasn't that way on Sanctum, which did lead me to worry. I did not want to walk away from this game with a loss, especially after we looked so solid at the end of the first map. The third map was back and forth, with both teams claiming their stake of the point until it was our time to break away with an excellent ultimate economy. Winning a crucial late game fight with 2 picks, we used Beat, and the otherwise free final fight turned into one that we would have to win with brute force, which we luckily did with pure Fitzy May fashion. With only a few seconds left, the point was left frozen with a perfectly placed May wall to force the C9. You know what they say, what goes around comes around. Karma was on our side for the end of this matchup, leaving us with a 2-1 record with 1 last game to play against Flats and his squad, which was the last game of the day. So I got up, got some food, went on about my day, staying warm, playing some Kovacs, and turned on the stream, and that's when I noticed this tournament was just about to get even more interesting. Team Yeatle versus Team Eeveea, otherwise known as Team Booba Lovers, the 0-3 team thus far, battling it out in a very close match on Eichenwald. Team Booba Lovers full held the enemy on first point defense, which means they had to capture 1 point in overtime to win 4-3. RJ finds a clean first pick, allowing the team to take hold of the point, and well, I'll let you see the rest.
Being forced into this elbow, they're not going to be able to stop them from walking, starting to take position. There's only 1 tick needed.
What are they doing? Where are they going? Where are they?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? He just punches him off the point. Now Yeatle has to touch in desperation.
Team.
What was
C9
that?
Booba! I heckin' love Booba! I heckin' love Booba! 3 of the most influential C9s in any tournament, all for the benefit of 1 team. team. Now we were to play the most influential game we have played yet thus far. If we could manage to beat Team Flats, we could keep momentum into the finals and seep our way through the cracks of victory. A true underdog story, and one that would be absolutely unforgettable. Immediately, mL7 ponders with the team what map to take against Necros, one of the scariest Genjis the game currently has to offer, and the team musters up the courage to take it to Junkertown. The whole idea was to create enough distance for the backline to be safe and find the value it needed in order to carry the game, and we did just that. The first fight went very well with a great counter to Boger's engagement onto the backline with fantastic execution from the team. The next fight went about the same with a swift fight win from the team, but then mL7's internet became, well, a bit finicky.
Give me a second. Yeah, I had 250 ping for whatever reason.
Okay.
I was scared for my life, but in retrospect, it was a great opportunity for the team to reset mentally and prepare for the incoming fight, where Nanoblade was about to become involved. Necros was forced to blade early, or so I thought. After all, he bladed on the opposite side of the point, but what I failed to realize was that he hadn't used dash yet, and by the time I caught on, I was too late with the trank to save mL7. It all went south from here, but there was one player left remaining, Fitzy. It was at this point where you will find that Fitzy is nuts at man. Before he dies, he managed to eliminate not one, not two, but 3 alongside the assist from Nano. This sets us up perfectly for the rest of the defense. In the last fight, all we had to worry about was the EMP, which had swiftly been knocked out by Bowie, and then I delivered the nail in the coffin, taking out Necros from across the map with a solid 5-1. So moving into the attack, we were feeling pretty confident, but as mL7 reminded us, it was important not to get too cocky, which was exactly what I did as I pushed a little bit too hard into a damage boosted Genji, but as time went on, openings were created, nanos were received, and Zen kicks were dealt to the correct targets, leading us to win the game, pushing us into the grand finals of the tournament against none other than Team Yeatle. Now, unlike the other matchups of this tournament that were best of 1, this one was best of 3, meaning we had to win 2 of the games to reign victorious in the series. As we loaded into Midtown, it was chosen that I would be starting over Foggy as I sought for redemption. We started on attack and it didn't go as smoothly as I would have hoped for. The first fight I died from being a little bit too aggressive, and the second had the same story. It wasn't until the 4th fight where we finally broke through the defense and I again was pushing the envelope. But the team pulled through and captured the point without me. Second point went a lot smoother as we took control and maintained the high ground with relative ease, pushing through with no bumps in the road. Third point, however, put the challenge right back in our face with a team-wide mistake. We simply started the point off by overinvesting ultimates into a fight that was already lost, since Warren went down early in the engagement. The next fight was quite a long one, but the team was confident in the neutral and found a way to survive the impending overclock and emerged victorious from the fight on point. Defense had a tough start. Bowie went in a little too deep, but it wasn't the end of the world. Or so I thought. We made the mistake of attempting to take another fight on first point, which gave up any chance to hold on second, leaving us with a 6-minute hold on third point of Midtown. But drastically against all odds, we managed to fight our way to overtime, falling just a hair short of stopping them in their tracks. At this point, it seemed as simple as just fixing our minor mistakes, and that is exactly what we did. Bowie played nearly perfectly, allowing for Fitzy to push through and clean up. And then, the next fight, mL7 slept Yeatle so that he couldn't even touch, making the map anything but winnable. Then attack came, and we opted in to take the high ground again, and this is where Warren really came alive on the Torb of all characters, winning the map, taking the momentum even further into the next map, Watchpoint Gibraltar. Now, if you recall from earlier in the video, Watchpoint was the one and only map that we lost. Reason being, we opted in to play the Eeveea and didn't utilize Warren's Ash to its potential. So, learning from our mistakes, we pulled out the monkey and put in Foggy for the Mercy Pocket onto Warren. The team was playing more coordinated than ever, and it seemed like our momentum was unstoppable. Right out the gate, mL7 hit a huge sleep dart on Metro, which was slick but seemed impossible to clean up on until Fitzy walled him off on the high ground, allowing for Warren to hit the dynamite and Bowie to easily finish him off. Plays like this are what defined the rest of the attacking half. Warren is hitting huge dynamites, coordinating aggressive bobs with Bowie's monkey. mL7 is sleeping players off cooldown. Foggy is damage boosting everyone at the perfect time, and Fitzy, oh, You'll see what Fitzy is pulling off on third point. After winning second, the team plays extremely aggressively, cleaning up the enemies so that a spawn hole is possible. This allows Fitzy's May to literally ice block spawn not once, not twice, but 3 times, ultimately not allowing Yeatle and his team to touch point for the entirety of third point, finishing our attack with 3 minutes and 12 seconds on the board. This attack was near perfection, and defense was no different. Fitzy is walling spawn, clearing teams. Warren is winning 1v1s off cooldown. mL7 is pulling off multi-kills. Our ultimate economy is solid, and it just seems so obvious. 20 seconds is on the clock. 1 game to win and 1 fight between us and the championship title. We seemingly have hold of the high ground until this happened. Yeatle on the Junker Queen contests Blue Box, but it wasn't even his plan all along. He uses his ultimate to ante the team on Blue Box as well as close the distance on mL7, completely demolishing him. And I mean demolishing him. No matter how clean it was though, the team wasn't there to finish off with him. Warren finds the pick on Yeatle and so does Foggy with the res immediately on mL7. But right when you thought it was back in our hands, J3 finds a pick on Winston. Fitzy throws a blizzard on a vacant point and it's back to being a competitive fight again. But it is not without Warren, finding 2 with the help of his supports, and Metro though answers with a pick of his own. Tanks are back in the game, but Yeatle is forced onto cart while Bowie has a free ticket into the backline, finding Forgiving on the Ana. Metro so desperately needs high ground as Soldier to carry the fight, but mL7 fails to miss a shot and suppresses the threat, leaving Team Yeatle little options. With time running out, the pieces of the puzzle all come together. The final picks are made, and Team Sleeper takes the map in the entire series 2-0. The voice chat was loud, but the result was louder. The team of underdogs coming from the depths to win the tournament that no one expected. Team Sleeper truly living up to the name. Words could not describe the joy I was feeling in this moment. There was no money to earn, charity to donate to, or even BlizzBucks to buy Overwatch League skins with. But I earned something far greater than any of these things. Bragging rights. That's right! You lost, losers! Team Sleeper for the win! Hashtag slept on! But in all seriousness, this experience was amazing. Never in my life did I think I was going to have the opportunity to play with the greatest the community has to offer. But not only that, but win alongside them not only as a teammate, but as a fellow content creator to create some of the most memorable moments my community has gotten the chance to share with me thus far in my journey. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to SVB and mL7 for taking the chance on myself. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to come back for the 2 time. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. I've got to peace out, and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.